I'm going to show you how to trim your own bangs, only because I know that you're doing it anyways. I want you to trim them dry. Reason being is because I don't want you to cut them wet and then dry your hair and your bangs shrink up to be shorter than you actually want them to be. So what you're going to do is you're going to wet your hair down. Blow dry in a back and forth motion. So when the hair lays flat, it's creating volume by using the flat of the scalp because the head is round, and blow drying back and forth is going to ensure that it doesn't have a home. It's just going to lay and sit and fall in your the way that your hair naturally would. So by doing that, you're going to go back and forth by just using the round of the head. So when you're blow drying, don't lift the hair. Just blow dry it flat, going back and forth. So chances are, if you're gonna cut your bangs, it's because you already have bangs and they're just grown out. But what you're gonna do after you blow dry the hair is you're going to comb it to see where it naturally wants to fall. I don't know if you've ever got your bangs trimmed and you get those like long pieces in there. That's because the hair wasn't cut in natural fall, so you've got pieces that are actually supposed to be bangs that weren't cut into your bangs. Another hot tip for finding where your bangs actually are is putting the comb flat on the flat spots of the head, because a round surface is made up of a series of flat spots. So if you put the flat of the comb on the surface of the head and you rock it backwards, you'll find the next flat spot, so you know that that's exactly the hair that lives in the front of your head. So before you cut, take your flat iron and just straighten out those bangs, but don't lift the hair, because if you lift the hair, you're going to create elevation, which is going to make the underneath pieces remain longer and your bangs will be uneven. So when you straighten it, figure out where the hair naturally wants to fall and just straighten the ends. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to take a little sliver of hair and figure out exactly how long you want your bangs to be. I'm going to recommend going at least a half an inch up to an inch longer than where you want them to be, just so you leave room for error. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take that hair and you're just going to trim it off. I'm going to encourage you, if you're cutting bangs at home, to cut up and down like this so you create texture and you don't have a stark, harsh line that you're trying to blend out after. Now that you've figured out your length in the middle, I'm going to encourage you to do each side separately. That way your hair can maintain its length on the outside pieces so you don't end up with like, keep your fingers as close to your scalp as possible. This is going to make sure that there is no elevation underneath that is going to give you an uneven result. And you're just going to trim that, going up and down. Then move on to the next side. And that's what you'll end up being left with. By cutting up and down, you're not removing length, you're just removing weight. The moment you turn your shear to the side, you're cutting length. So by staying straight up and down, that's how you get the soft, diffused line. So now that I've cut the bang, you can see that it's diffused, but it's still kind of heavy, right? This is when you can lift the hair and use elevation to your advantage. You'll notice that the hair down here, because it's on the round of the forehead, is going to remain shorter than the strands up here. So if I know that this is my length and this is the hair that lays over top, I can go in and I can diffuse this hair in the middle to create texture without affecting the actual length of your bangs. So based on that alone, I know I can pick this up, and so long as my scissors are parallel with the hair, I can go in and diffuse some of that without creating lines in the hair. Cut right into the hair. See how I'm just cutting the same way that the hair flows? Be sure that when you're doing this, you're not affecting the hair on the top or the hair on the bottom. Now, you have some cute, fresh little bangs. This is the point that you could go in and use that elevation to your advantage, just to kind of lift them off your forehead a little bit. And give them a little bit of volume. Voila. For the record, I'm not advocating at-home haircuts. I just want to say that I don't recommend cutting your bangs at home, but I do know that regardless of whether or not I made this video, that some of you are going to attempt to do it anyways. So I'd much rather the information came from me. Again, I don't recommend that you do it, but I do hope that the steps that I outlined in my video will help you have a more successful bang trim. In the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay positive. And don't cut your hair.